This video explains how to add web links and create graphs in R Markdown. If you're not sure how to create and edit R Markdown file, including how to add bullet points, pictures, numbered lists, and how to produce bold and italicized text, please see our videos 3, 4, and 5 in this series. As you continue to polish your document in R Markdown, there may be times when you would like to add a web link to your document. You can add a web link by surrounding it with angle brackets like this. Let's insert a web link to our Markdown website. Make sure that you don't have any typos. Now let's need this document to produce an HTML output file to check if the placing of the web link is how and where we want it to be. And Markdown web link to Markdown website is placed below the image for the annual growth rates. Next, I will explain how to create a simple bar graph in R Markdown document. While creating graphs in R Markdown may seem difficult, it's actually pretty easy once you know how and what to do. To create a simple bar graph in R Markdown document, we will follow the following steps. First, we need to insert an R code chunk in the RMD file by simply clicking Insert in the Upper tab of the RMD file, Insert, and then choose the first option, which corresponds to R chunk. Once you have done that, you will see inserted in your RMD file the following expression: the 3 backticks, a pair of braces with R inside, and another 3 backticks. Ticks together specify that whatever is in between those ticks will be processed as R program code. Inside the braces, add echo, add after R. Well, first of all, you can choose a different name for this R code chunk. For example, simple bar graph, and you put comma, and we'll put echo, add echo equals, and we will choose false to exclude this R code from the output document. If you would like to include R code in the final document, then you need to write echo, and instead of false, put true. We do not specify anything because the default is echo equals true. Next, we type the name of the variable. In our case, it's per. Then an assignment symbol and a function c. Define the values of the variable per. Following the textbook example, the 4 values or observations that the variable per, and per stands for percentage, takes are 72, so we type 72, we type comma, 73, comma, 67, comma, 56. In this example, the output of the C function is assigned to a variable named per via an assignment symbol, this assignment symbol. Instead of this assignment symbol, we can use an equivalent assignment symbol like this. And it will produce the same output. In this example, the variable called per stores the data for the percentage values for the first graph in the textbook. Variables can be named as whatever you want them to be named, except for special characters. But you should choose wisely the names of the variables to help keep better track of what each part of your code is doing. Now we need to specify a graph type. And to do this, we need to write a function or command for creating a specific graph type. In this example, we would like to produce a bar graph. And our command for creating a bar graph is bar plot. So we hit enter to move to the next line and start typing bar plot. And it gives us option, we choose it. Next, inside the parentheses, we need to provide various information for the plot. First, we identify the variable called per, which we would like to construct a bar graph and whose values are used in the plot. The values that we specify in the first line of this R code chunk. Then we need to set the increments on the vertical axis by setting y limit from 0 to 100. So we put comma, y lim. Again, we have the C function. Note how the values for the range of the values along the vertical axis can be modified. For example, we see that the maximum value that the variable per takes among these four values is 72. So the range of values can be specified as 0 to 80 instead of 100. The next step is to assign the names to each column. So we need to put comma after specifying the increments on the vertical axis. Move to the next line and use names arc to tell R what to name each of the columns. In this example, based on the textbook, the different percentages are named as millennials, Generation X, baby boomers, and retirees, respectively. We use, again, C function to name the columns. Make sure that you put commas between the names of the columns, and also make sure that these names appear in the order that matches with that of the numeric values of the variable. Then again, don't forget to put comma. And finally, we need to give the graph a title by setting main to equal Netflix subscriptions by generation. What we have just did is we wrote the R code for a bar graph titled Netflix subscriptions by generation that has 4 generations on x-axis and the percentage of Netflix subscriptions on the y-axis. The values on the y-axis range from 0 to 80 in intervals of 20. So let's knit this document to produce an HTML output file to check if the graph looks exactly we want it to look. So we see that this R code chunk produced a bar graph titled Netflix subscriptions by generation that has 4 generations on the x-axis: millennials, Generation X, baby boomers, and retirees. And the percentage of Netflix subscriptions on the y-axis. The values on the y-axis range from 0 to 80 in intervals of 20. You can also note that the R code is excluded from this output document. Now, if we want to include this R code in the output document, what we will need to do is we need either to put echo equals true, and in this case, you can see this R code appear in the final output document. Or equivalently, we can remove this echo altogether, because the default is echo equals true. And the R code is included in the output document. This video explained how to add web links and create bar graphs in R Markdown.